First of all, to meet the challenge, you're going to need to at least watch my Afro-Asiatic Gospel, the True Gospel playlist. I will double the amount for this challenge. 34,000 to anyone who can prove that there aren't millions of members of secret societies in the military, law enforcement, mental health, etc., whose specific goal is to control reproduction, and that they're not control freaks that infiltrated the church to make Christians take the blame for what pagans, Greco-Romans, wolves, bulls, snakes, rats, pigs are doing. Detestable animals are doing. It's $34,000 if you can prove it in a way that is satisfactory to me. No Ivy League bullshit, no fabricated evidence. Prove it. You can't. For the same reason they can't beat me. They all put their heads together and they can't beat me. The same reason they're afraid. Because those of us who walk in the light, we are closer to God. We are naturally superior. We are superior mind, body, and soul. That's why Igbos outperform every other group, every single one. We are superior. So they will not be able to prove that because everything they're doing has to do with the little man complex. Their small point of view. They feel little. They're vertically challenged. The military-industrial complex, the feminist complex, the gay complex, the little man complex, Satan's complex. When people are mad at another race, okay, and the army was away, they might sneak into the village and rape the women. That's what happened during the Nigerian Civil War. It's a snake tactic, okay, that demands a violent response. Now, when the people who are in the military see it going on, for them to then take it out on that person's family or that person's army, are they wrong? No, because that person waged war. As soon as you include women in as part of war, and you're in sex cults, okay, you now have made it so rape is 100% on the table. Remember, I'll take my medicine, I'll take my videos down, I'll pay them $17,000, $50 just to show if they can beat me. In the most common form of martial arts competition, in the country with the most martial arts schools and the most diverse forms of martial arts. They cannot beat me for the same reason they cannot address my key point or get the $34,000. Their philosophy is inferior. They believe where the dark and the light meet is God's perspective. That's why they have the sun, the moon, and God consciousness in between, where the checkered floor meets. I know this because I was a Crip for many years. My family on my mom's side are the Rosicrucians and the Masons and the Templars who founded Masonry. They married my dad because Igbos, the Silent G, the 33 tribes, halfway between the northwest of Africa and the southeast, the original land, the foundation. Halfway on the foundation or the floor is the cross line, is where they meet, Hegel, and so on. Okay? It is what they call commonalities, God's perspective between light and dark. To understand this, you just have to observe things from the hawk perspective. But for a snake to understand it, they actually have to participate in evil. Thus, the apep and jackal and wolf, the wolf is a variation of a jackal or a dog, you lowly dogs, the opposite of God. That is the true roleplay. Now, the opposite of a white God is an Igbo. Okay, that's why Obi, Igbo. But if it was that simple, then why is the Obi man called the Obi man and not the Igbo man? Because the truth is in the original truth, not in the white man's twist that came later. Therefore, Igbos are the only group of people that fit the description perfectly. And even in the Jewish media, they call them the Jews of Africa. Okay, we have the greatest warriors, the smartest people. My dad's a brain surgeon. My uncle's a doctor. My other uncle who passed away graduated top of his class at UC Berkeley Law. We are the most naturally blessed race. We are superior. You get $34,000 if you can prove this argument in this video wrong definitively. Okay? No white social norms. No Ivy League secret societies. No skull and bones. Okay? Which is poison, right? Who controls the label? Who labels things? Who defines things? They defined eugenics. They define what's right and wrong. The who, what, where, when, how, why, right? The WH, it represents the white person. Okay? Basically, the whites who were racist and concerned with the social order and Rome went one way. The whites who cared about the Afro-Asiatic truth went to the humble people. Going back to Matthew 19, 23 and 24. If it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich person to go through heaven, would not the Jews and the secret societies and all those people who had the truth or the light or saw some part of it go where the bad guys are if they are concerned with the social order and their race? And wouldn't the ones who have the truth go to where the evils are if they're concerned with the truth? And of course we see tears of the sun. Of the sun. Do I have this around here? Or is it in the cuts? Tears of the Sun, S-U-N. Here we go. Of course, we have Tears of the Sun, S-U-N. And what is it about? But white guys in Hollywood and secret societies, including Italians and Irish people who are famous for their Catholic secret societies, going to a Catholic place. Remember, the Catholics are the original. They have the truth and the lie. They know evils are the truth. And that Italy is the Romans and they are the lie. So the people who are privy, whether they're Jesuits or Masons or anything, they go to where the Igbos are and carry their cross because they know it's the truth. The people who have sold their soul to maintain the white social order, they went to Germany. They went to France. They went to Italy. They're the Vikings. They're the Talmudic Jews. They're the pagans. They went to the same places, right? Russia, Rome, Sicily, France, England, the same places the Romans, the Greco-Romans went. So they have this Greco-Roman Viking culture. 1, 2, 3. That's what unites them. Pagan, Greco-Roman, Viking culture with an emphasis on the white social order and science or intellect or pantheism or nihilism or a natural deism over superstition or Christianity or truth. Thus, it is Luciferian light from the 9 and not the true light from the 7. You starting to understand what's going on here? From an occult perspective, from a martial arts perspective, from a religious perspective, from a political, economic. You're starting to see how they all line up. Again, in Egypt, just like in Biafra, the martial artists controlled the trade. They controlled the political. They were the head of the priesthoods, okay? They were the head of the priesthood, Wolf's head. The head of Wolf's priesthood with the science department at Yale, with the chemists and psychologists and sociologists and psychiatrists, okay? Versus the head of the natural priesthood, which doesn't have money because money is the root of all evil, and it was made to control reproduction, trade, social life, and get you to bow to the social order. That's the purpose of money, to control labor and reproduction and get you to bow to the people who printed. That's why Jesus said, render unto Caesar that which is his. And he called them a brood of vipers. He said, you're wolves in sheep's clothes, okay? The children of the devil, okay? And the bowl covers the light, Serapis, the Luciferian depiction of Jesus, which is actually, when you look at it from a Greco-Roman perspective, they took something from about the 18th dynasty and added Hades to it. They said, what are the commonalities between this good deity and our evil perspective? What is our Roman or half good, half evil, dualistic perspective of these different deities or gods? And Pharaoh was a living god, and he determined who was good by looking at them to see if they lost their soul, because he was trained with martial arts perception to not only see the threats that were physical but spiritual as well. So to kind of put things in perspective for you, number one, this is about eugenics, which is about reproduction and controlling sexual behavior. Who did MK Ultra? It was George White, and Sidney Gottlieb, who was like Kissinger, I believe, a Hungarian Jew, a white devil. No offense to these people, okay? And so Sidney Gottlieb and George White, it was psychiatrists, psychologists, chemists. They were concerned with using substances to control behavior, okay? And it's on my wall right here, so I'm gonna read it briefly and we'll wrap it up. And I'll leave this here on the pen, okay? Substances which will promote illogical thinking and impulsiveness, make them more suggestible, right? To the point where the recipient will be discredited in public. Remember, they're concerned with your version of their presentation, how you perceive their presentation, and applying their snake philosophy. Materials to control reproduction, trade, and all those things I'm talking about. Materials which will cause the victim to age faster, slower in maturity, affects your sex life. Substances which will increase the efficiency of mentation and perception, make you smarter, intellect over superstition. Women will value more if you take their substances which increase performance, and they give the substances which decrease performance to people like me, like they do with psych meds and the covert drugging. Okay, it's part of the poison, APEP, skull and bones, Berzelius fucking agenda. To control who has the scrolls, who has the religion, who has the keys to heaven, who society perceives has the keys to heaven. And when you apply the Bible correctly, you see that it's Judah, it is Ebo, it is people like me who actually have the keys. So it's about propaganda machine, media spin. Okay, materials which will promote the intoxicating effects of alcohol. Again, the devil uses intoxicants. Was it 1 Peter 5:8? Stay sober, stay vigilant, because the devil is a roaring lion. Again, you had the Judah, the Egyptian lion, and you had the Babylonian lion, the truth and the lie, convicted, convince, contrast, con man. Okay, the truth and the lie and the same thing. You have to extract the truth from their dualistic presentation of what is going on. Materials which will cause temporary permanent brain damage. Well, I'm almost out of time. I'll put it in the comments. So they're looking for different materials causing amnesia, shock and confusion, physical disailment, paralysis, blisters, right, which mimics STDs. Okay, imagine you're having sex with your girlfriend and they give you a substance that causes a blister on your dick, and you're sweating a lot, so it comes out on your dick. Now you look like you have an STD. Hasn't happened to me, but on record, that's what they do. Okay, so, and also you can't trust their tests because they can easily give you an STD during the test. So they have different options and different ways they can go with it, different serpent ways they can go with their evil war arts of Mars versus the divine arts of the light temple. Substances will alter personality structure in such a way that the tendency of the recipient is to become dependent upon another person is enhanced. So if you wanted to turn out a prostitute or a gay person in prison, you would give them substances, whether it's cocaine or whatever. Any substance is going to make them dependent, whether it's street drugs or pharmaceuticals, right? So you can turn them out and control their sexual behavior, among other things. A material which will cause mental confusion of such a type that the individual under influence will find it difficult to maintain a fabrication under questioning. So they say, tell me the truth now so they can control you. Tell me the truth, I know, because they want the truth and they want to have a monopoly on being liars because they worship the great deceiver, the snake, the serpent, Hades, Serapis, Apep, the bull, the pig, and the rat, and all these things that, they're unclean, detestable forms of life. All right. A knockout pill, okay, remember, date rape, right? A knockout pill, who does the date raping? Fraternities, what are they? Greek secret societies in colleges, just like Skull and Bones, Greco-Roman secret societies in college using substances to date rape women. And then you have a bunch of feminists who act like they care, and they use Brock or whatever, Lesnar or whatever that guy's name is from Stanford, yeah, that's someone else. That's like a UFC fighter or something. Anyway, the white guy from Stanford, right? They act like they care about that, but they're the biggest rapists of all. They're helping. Look, there's a bunch of feminists, occult witchcraft doing feminists who like to pretend they're a witch and mix substances up so that women get raped and that people suffer. So because they're Satanists, their concern is with their family. And the temple of Set, the temple of the wolf, the Rome, the Greco-Romans, the Vikings. Okay, you think Viking women care about women being raped? Or do you think they're going to smile and laugh with a demonic look in their eye and say, hey, it's because of those black guys. It's because of the black guys' religious patriarchy that women get raped. What do you think's happening? I guarantee you there's a bunch of Greek, Romans, and white racists from Masonic lodges in the Eastern Star, the biggest fraternal order in the world, the biggest secret society in the world is co-masonry, okay, dual gender, right? It's the biggest faction. The Eastern Star, I guarantee you, there are people from every race in the Eastern Star teaming up with the pharmaceutical sector. That's why they have such sexy bitches. If you worked in the pharmaceutical sector and you were a Freemason that owned the company and you could have any sexy slut secretary you want work for you, would you want a secret society bitch in a sex cult that you can fuck anytime you're stressed out and give you the upper hand while your competition is stressed out and their love life is sabotaged and your network is bringing them down? You starting to get how things work yet? Are you? Fuck, starting to piss me off. I'm sorry for talking fast, but as you can see, I'm already over 14 minutes and I had a lot to say. I am not bipolar. I am brokenhearted and a bunch of cultural imperialists are trying to drug me. I have 15 witnesses right now on record. I have interviews with dozens of people right now. 15 witnesses to the PSYOP against me, and testimonies from dozens of others of people in my interview list on my James Jackson channel, which is probably where I'll upload this. I'll probably upload it to both. It is long. It's going to take me a while. And also, they're trying to block my views from getting out. And if you don't remember anything else, why are they doing this to me and not anyone else, with all the different versions of what's going on and how offensive they are, and everyone always calling them Satanists? Why are they doing this to me? Exactly. Because I am right. And I am a brain surgeon's son, the top martial artist, and they are the mini-me coward snakes that trying to cheat me out of my rightful place. Remember, most of the books Masons read are in the library. I know, because my mom's side of the family founded Freemasons, the Templars and them. And my dad's side of the family are the Ebos, the G, the hidden G, 33 tribes, halfway between northwest Africa and southeast Africa is Igbo land, where the rivers are, the Nile, and so on. Now watch this. See, look. See, watch when they're marching. Right? Look, what are they wearing? Is this African apparel, or is this Western kind of military culture? Therefore, when you see a military psyop, it's the same. The Masons are law enforcement. They are the military. They founded the CIA. They are eugenicists. They want to control reproduction. That's why black women in Oakland sided with them, and showed their allegiance to Kaiser and made sure I knew it, even though they knew I had 15 witnesses, because they're so evil and so cocky that they're going to keep doing it. And black women in Oakland and people with serpents, any symbol you see like theirs, okay, any symbol that does not show the ideology of the Light Temple is from their temple. The Masons, the House of the Temple. And they talk about the Temple of Aten. Google the Temple of Aten or Aten Ra, okay, and the different Aten names in the Black Masons. Well, who was Akhenaten? He was a heretic who was portrayed in a way that the Greeks and Romans took as gender neutral, dual gender. Okay, one way to look at it is Akhenaten is teaming up with the enemies of Horus and Ra and formed his own religion and wanted you to pay tribute to his temple, to bring women's into his temple so he could change their templar lobe and their third eye, their pineal gland. Okay, that's why the Masons strike you in the heart, the neck, and the head. Okay, the pineal gland. Okay, because the heart pumps blood through the neck, right, through the arteries, into the fucking brain, right? So we talk about bloodlines. You talk about the heart and the bread and the blood. You look at this when they do the marching, right? You see the nice car, right? It is hard. It is Matthew 19, 23 and 24. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Truly I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God." Jesus wore rags. So why are these guys dressed in all military apparel? Why are there military fraternal, orders? Why are there police fraternal orders? Okay? Why are they dressed in a European style? Why do they have a European way about them? Okay, these guys come off as whitewashed, right? Because they're in a Greco-Roman secret society, and they are the slaves for Rome who are rewarded for their service with Roman goods of this world, including women who are of this world. Because it is impossible to be a righteous woman and to date a Mason or to not desire me more than any other man. Because I am from the bloodline of God, the bloodline of Judah. I'm tall, dark, and handsome, the top martial artist. I'm brilliant. When you look at the types of things that we look for naturally, remember, these people talk about natural law. Before the Scottish Rite and everyone changed it up, the Masons were trying to hide the fact that the bloodline of Jesus was black. Then a bunch of Greeks and Romans and all these people and Jews infiltrated, and they forced their perspective into the secret society lodges. So when Masons first started, they were a kind of Templar-related order that had found evidence that black people were the original Jews in which is obvious, Afro-Asiatic, right? Under the Solomon's temple, and that Solomon was black. So what did they do? The white racists, started holding up the white power structure, while the whites who were for God married the real bloodline. So what happened? My mom, whose great-grandfather is a 33rd and a third degree Mason, my family that started Masonry, they kept true to the ideas of natural law and the truth, who were concerned with the truth more than social control, married the Igbo. And the ones who were concerned more with social control, they married white racists with money. Any questions? In this next clip, you're going to hear how they describe the Igbo man's hut as the hut of the first son, the temple of the first son. Okay, well, who was the first son of Osiris, for example? It was Horus, right? And who's the first son? The first representative of the Sun Temple. And there's a lot of parallels you can draw from this. Remember, Jesus is the Son of God, and German son is S-O-N-N-E, and it's the Norse and the Greco-Romans and the Babylonians. so on. Some of the main people covering this up. You know, on so many levels, it is unavoidable. This intense spiritual Igbo man, okay, was set aside by God for something great. Where Osiris settled was in the land of the Ikenga. Okay, and then came the waves of the Jews, perhaps to rejoin their tribe, their kin. They are the same as the Cushites. Where did the Cushites go? You gotta look at time, right? This is relative to the time. For example, is the demographics of America right now the same as it was 4,000 years ago? Or are the demographics? No. So you gotta look at the time. Well, who were the Cushites back then? Okay, as opposed to who are they now? You know, or yeah, and or where are they now? Where were they back then? Okay, when you get invaded from the north and the east, which way do you think you go? It's a no-brainer. You know, if a bull is charging you from the northeast, which way do you run, brother? Okay. When a gay bull, a big fucking snake, and a pack of wolves are rushing you from the northeast after they fucking, you know, broke down, use your own people against you to break down, you know, your defenses, what do? You regroup in a place that is similar, where you can train, you know, somewhere similar to where you lived before. You know, the Niger River, the Cross River, you know, you carry your cross and you set up shop. And that's what the Igbos did. And they're holding it down against some of the most violent people in the world for years and years and years. And we had everything set up perfectly until what happened? The devil came back, the British Freemason, and said, I'm going to put a stop to this. But it's not as simple as just going straight up after the Igbos and letting everyone know what's going on. Because there are going to be a bunch of self-righteous Christians, quote unquote, that oppose us and take their side. And of course, we saw that during the Civil War, where some Christians went out of their way to stay with the Igbos and carry their cross with them because they knew that they were the true descendants of Judah, Jesus' family, you know. I have both blacks and whites in my family, okay? I tell you the truth, you know, Masons made it 100% clear to me that they teach people to lie about Jesus' family. Okay, 100% clear. And the Igbos, after searching for many, many years, what tribe it could be, it was just so obvious to me. You know them by their works, right? Who was the great builders? It was the Igbos. You know, who are the greatest mind, body, and soul today? It is the Igbos. Who had to leave their beautiful women behind in Egypt, and as a result, you know, their women aren't up to par anymore. No offense to the Igbo women. The Igbos, okay? What happens when you leave all those bad bitches that you were fighting for in the first place behind? And for example, look at Cleopatra. She wasn't the first Egyptian slut. She got that harlot mentality from Egyptian whores who were there already, okay? Cleopatra was one of the most obvious representations of the harlot, but it's a cycle, and I've been betrayed with every fucking turn. You know, it's a cycle where every descendant of every demon has a turn running the trains on the most attractive women. That's what the story is about, the Bible is about. The abominations that people who think like the devil, Rome, the Greece, the Vikings, you know, these kind of pagan kind of scumbags who want an order out of Set, right? What is Rome? It is an order out of chaos. Okay, they cannot use the true order to bring in the New World Order, right? Because then it's a bunch of Igbos. So they have to make an order out of chaos, you know, because it was, you know, who went which way, right? They started in the middle. Think about it. And one of them went northeast, right, to the Caucasus in Asia and, you know, Babylon and stuff. And one group went southwest to southeast Nigeria. Okay, it's a fucking no-brainer. Look at population density. Okay, where would you expect the followers of the temple to be? They would be around, you know, why is it called a city? Polis, politics, city, civitas, okay? Civilian, okay? Why is it called this in the first place? Because like in Nekhen, which was the first major city that united Upper and Lower Egypt from the south, or Upper Egypt, okay, it was a temple. You know, the city is based around the temple. It's the same thing when you go to Biafra, right? You look at the ancient Igbo capitals, if you will, for lack of a better word, ancient Igbo trade centers and so on. It's the same idea, okay? The Igbos are the founders of Egypt and the tribe of Judah as well. It is impossible to be honest and to have a clear mind and not see it that way. Therefore, historically, mind, body, and soul, the most perceptive martial artists have already conceded my point. Do I need to explain to all the white belts who have a black belt on that they don't deserve why they're wrong? No. I am from the family who did the stuff. I don't have to explain to you shit. It's encoded in my blood. My chi energy from father to son, like father, like son. We passed on the heritage. It is our martial arts. We are the keepers of it. You're not. You don't tell us shit. We tell you everything. Thank you.